Check your phone, Zainab. I've moved on. The text popped up at 6:02 a.m. as the first Danfo bus honked on Awolowo Road, Ikoyi. Zainab's heart hammered. Another buzz came in, the bank app notification she never wanted to see. Joint account debit, $500, 000.00. The number didn't look real. It looked like the sky falling. She stumbled toward the balcony, Lagos humidity pressing her like a heavy hand, and called her husband. No answer. She called again. His line went dead. Her 17-year-old son, Kosi, appeared in the hallway in an oversized hoodie. Mom, why are you shaking? She hid the screen. Go get your sister ready. We're leaving early. Is it Dad? Move, please. On her screen, another message. I've filed for divorce. Don't call me. Then a location tag from Murtala Muhammad Airport. He was running. The sweating fear snapped into a cold blade. Domestic betrayal. Infidelity in marriage. Emotional manipulation. It had all been smoke in the room. Now it was a house on fire. She dialed her banker in Victoria Island. AO, emergency freeze. Joint account. Now. AO's voice was low and stunned. Madam Zainab, the sweep hit correspondent banks in Accra and Johannesburg at exactly 6 o'clock. It's coordinated. Who signed? Digital dual auth. Your token shows a push at 3:14 a.m. from your device. That's impossible. It isn't if someone cloned you. Zainab grabbed a plain abaya, tied a scarf, and thrust passports into her bag. In the kitchen, the smell of last night's jollof and fish stew clung to the air. 12-year-old Tammy walked in with her hair in 2 puffs, eyes wide. Mummy, are we okay? We're together, Zainab said, steadying her voice. That's what's okay. Traffic snarled toward the bridge, vendors weaving between cars hawking plantain chips and bottled water. Zainab's lawyer, Barrister Igioma, picked up on the third ring. Tell me everything. He emptied the joint. A text divorce. He's headed for a flight. Then we file ex parte orders in Lagos High Court now. We'll alert EFCC. And Zainab, do not speak to him. No matter what he says. What if he gets to the kids? We secure an interim custody order today. Her phone vibrated again. A photo this time, Depo in a private jet lounge, designer Agbada sharp as a razor, a woman in a gold dress at his shoulder. The caption, "Don't embarrass yourself." Zainab's fingers trembled, but her voice came out like iron. Igioma, he thinks I'm 2 steps behind. He doesn't know I'm 3 ahead. She dropped the children at her Aunt Mareo's house in Surulere, a courtyard full of hibiscus and an old radio murmuring Afrobeats. Mareo pulled Zainab aside, eyes brimming. My daughter, men with new money forget the door they entered. But God sees. Today, I'm not waiting on God, Zainab said softly. I'm hiring everyone else. At the courthouse, Igioma scribbled with a speed born of Lagos pressure and experience. We position this as financial or legal revenge. Not in words, but in strategy, she said. He orchestrated a $500 million sweep across borders. We frame it as fraud. The judge will sign a worldwide Mariva injunction if we hit the standards. And the marriage? We keep the heart out of it in the papers. But in the courtroom, we let his infidelity and cheating spouse show character. By noon, EFCC had an alert. By 1, Zainab and Igioma were on 3rd Mainland Bridge, Lagos sun blazing, wind whipping through a half-stuck window. AO called back. There's a pattern. Transfers hit holding entities named Pearl Holdings, GH, Nality PR, ZA, and Listen, Oak Family Office, BVI. Zainab closed her eyes. He used our name to steal from us. Her phone flashed again, an unknown number. She answered on speaker. A woman's voice purred with a South African lilt. Zainab, I thought you should know. He promised to leave you clean. He lied to you. He lied to me too. Who is this? Nalady. And I'm about to board. If you want proof of his cheating and the way he moved the money, meet me in Accra tonight. Why help me? Because he just texted me the same divorce template. Zainab looked at Ijeoma. We go. Carefully, Ijeoma said. This is an African marriage drama, not a Hollywood film. We go with court papers and a plan. Zainab texted Aunt Mareo, hug the kids for me. I'll be home before dawn if I can. She typed another message to Depo, deleted it, and pocketed her phone. The city roared around her, Okadas slicing past, hawkers calling, the eco-Atlantic skyline shimmering like a mirage. She straightened her scarf. Let him run. I'll be there when he stops. The airport PA crackled. Flight to Accra, boarding. Zainab and Ijeoma exchanged a look. They walked toward the gate. What would you do if you woke up to a text divorce and an empty account? Hit like if you've been betrayed, and comment below where you're watching from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The Accra night air smelled of wet dust and roasted corn. Outside Kotoka International Airport, taxis idled in a line of yellow and black. A woman in a white blazer and Ankara pencil skirt leaned against a pillar, phone in hand, hair in a sleek bun. She lifted her chin as Zainab approached. You came. Naledi, Zainab said. You look like trouble. Naledi smiled without humor. I am. Trouble for men who miscount women. They took a quiet table at a hotel lounge off Oxford Street. High life music floated over low conversation. Naledi slid a slim drive across the table. He used my PR firm as a staging ground. Contracts, invoices, influencer campaigns, real clients, but the numbers were padded. He salted the budget lines, split travel and media buys into shell entities, and moved them into Pearl Holdings. The trail passes through Ghana because the compliance load is lighter, no offense. None taken, said a woman joining them, laughter in her voice. She was Amma Mensah, Zainab's old university friend who now ran risk at a major Accra bank. I love my country. I also know our loopholes. Amma pulled out a laptop. We've matched the timestamps with your bank notifications. This is deliberate, rehearsed. The sweep hit at 6 o'clock Lagos time because that's 5 o'clock in Accra, quiet hour. But he didn't expect you to have a standing monitoring order on any transaction over $10 million. I set that up after the first time he came home at 2 a.m. smelling of Tom Ford and someone else's perfume, Zainab said. Domestic betrayal teaches you to watch the locks. We can seek a temporary freeze here, Amma said. I have a friendly judge who respects cross-border cooperation. Ijeoma nodded. We already have a Lagos Mariva. We'll attach it. The court will like that this is about co-parenting conflict too, children's welfare tied to financial stability. Naledi's gaze softened. He told me he had no children. Zainab swallowed. He told me he had no conscience. They filed motion papers through the night. At dawn, the judge signed the order. Amma exhaled. Now Johannesburg. The Naledi PR account there is the Bridge to Oak family office. Naledi looked ashamed. I thought I was building a brand. I was building his escape route. You're building my case now, Zainab said. Don't break. By mid-morning, they were back at the airport. Zainab's phone buzzed. A voice note from Depo. Z, you're embarrassing yourself and the kids. Come home. Let's talk like adults. You know you can't win. She listened twice, listening for what wasn't said. In the silence behind his words, she heard an airport TV, a boarding chime, a South African accent saying, "Final call." He wasn't in Lagos anymore. On the plane to Johannesburg, Zainab stared out at the quilt of clouds. When she closed her eyes, she saw other quilts, osso oak from her wedding, Ankara wrappers from her mother, the woven raffia mat from their first tiny apartment. Back then, they had eaten suya on the floor and laughed at nothing. When did it shift? Was it the first big check? The first trip alone? The first lie tiny enough to accept? The plane dipped. A baby cried. Zainab opened her notebook and wrote names, dates, amounts. She drew a line from love to power to money to pride to public disgrace. She circled pride, then underlined disgrace. "I want him to stop," she whispered, "and I want him to learn." At OR Tambo, a uniformed officer met them with a placard, "Adeyemi legal." Ijeoma had called ahead. In the car, Ijeoma briefed the officer on the Lagos and Accra orders. He nodded. "Our courts will honor them. But your husband? He has friends here." Naledi stared at her phone. "He's posted from the Saxon. Champagne by the pool." Zainab's jaw tightened. "Let him toast. This is the last glass he drinks as a free man." They reached the hotel. A glass world opened onto manicured gardens and shimmering water. Naledi pointed to a cabana. Depo lounged there, white shirt open at the throat, sunglasses reflective as mirrors, a new woman laughing too loudly by his side. He looked up as if he felt Zainab's gaze slice across the space. He stood slowly, removed his glasses, smiled the smile that once made Zainab's knees forget their job. "Z," he said. "You traveled." She held up the court papers. "So did Justice." The security manager stepped forward. "Sir, there's an order here." Depo glanced, amused. "We'll sort it." "Z, you don't want this noise. Let's talk." Zainab kept her voice level. "You divorced me by text and stole from our children. The noise isn't mine." He leaned close, voice silk wrapped around a knife. "You'll lose, Z. You're not ruthless enough." "That's your mistake," she said. "You forgot the girl who grew up in Mushin markets, counting change faster than pickpockets. You forgot who taught you to dream in numbers." He laughed softly, then his eyes cut to something behind her, and the laughter stopped. Zainab turned. Two officers approached with a warrant from the South Gauteng High Court, linked to the Lagos and Accra freezes. The manager's face changed. Hotel cooperation mode activated. Depo's new smile died. The woman beside him stepped back, clutching her handbag. "What is happening?" He didn't answer. He looked at Zainab, and for the first time, fear flickered. "Sir," the officer said, "we need access to your devices." Zainab's phone buzzed. A message from Aunt Mareo, "Come home now. It's the children." Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. Where are my children? Zainab's voice cracked across the Lagos living room like a whip as the video call connected. Kosi's face filled the screen, pale, jaw clenched. Auntie tried to pick Tammy from school. Dad's driver was already there. He said he had new instructions. Zainab's pulse thundered. "Where is Tammy now?" "With Dad," Kosi said. "They just left the gate." Ijeoma squeezed Zainab's shoulder in the Johannesburg hotel lobby. "We'll file an emergency order in Lagos directing immediate return." "Do it now." Zainab turned back to the officers. "You have my cooperation. But I'm leaving on the next flight." Depo spread his hands. "Z, no one took anyone. She's my daughter too." "You are a cheating spouse under criminal investigation," Zainab said. "You can't play co-parenting conflict like a card." An EFCC liaison on video nodded. "We'll coordinate with Lagos Family Court. He's not to move the child out of state." Depo smiled faintly. "You can't jail a father for school pickup." Zainab pointed to his phone on the table. "Unlock it." He considered, then touched the screen. A cascade of messages bloomed, shell emails, transfers, a gallery of staged invoices. Naledi's mouth tightened. "I recognize those." He faked entire campaign metrics. The officer's eyes warmed with the glow of good evidence. "Thank you," he said, to no one in particular. Zainab's flight landed in Lagos at dusk, a smear of pink behind palm silhouettes. She didn't go home. She drove straight to Depo's new waterfront apartment in Eco-Atlantic, the kind where glass walls pretend money is a shield. Afrobeat thumped from somewhere. In the marble lobby, she kept her head high. The security man recognized her, hesitated, looked away. At the door, voices, Tammy protesting, Depo laughing too loudly. Zainab knocked once. The door opened on Depo's cousin, Kunal, wearing a designer tee and a smirk. "Ah, Madam Z. You didn't RSVP. Move," she said. Depo strolled in from the kitchen with 2 plates of takeout suya. "Z. Relax. We can co-parent without drama." "You created the drama with that text divorce," she said. "Where is my daughter?" Tammy ran in from the balcony. "Mummy." Zainab crouched. "Baby, get your bag." Depo's voice cooled. "She's staying tonight." Ijeoma stepped forward with an envelope. Interim order. Immediate return pending hearing. Depo's face closed. "You got a judge on speed dial?" "I got the law," Ijeoma said. "And the law doesn't like emotional manipulation." He stared at the paper. Then he laughed again, brittle. "You think court papers scare me? Z, you think a piece of paper will stop me?" A knock sounded at the door again. Not a polite one. A heavy one. The building manager stood there with 2 men in suits. The manager cleared his throat. "Sir, there's a letter from your board. They've called an emergency meeting. Tonight. They want you on a video call. It's urgent." Depo frowned, took the letter, scanned, and went pale. The suits set up a laptop at the dining table. A gallery of serious faces flickered on, board members, investors, a Ghanaian fund manager Zainab recognized, and, front and center, Amma, calm as morning. "Good evening, Mr. Oak," Amma said. "We've received multiple regulatory inquiries from Lagos, Accra, and Johannesburg regarding Oak family office transfers and Pearl Holdings." Depo's mouth hardened. "This is a misunderstanding." "It is not," Amma said. "We are voting on a resolution to suspend you as CEO pending investigation." Depo looked up at Zainab, frustration flaring, then calculation. His thumb tapped the table. He was looking for a weapon. When he found one, he smiled again, slow and cruel. "Before you all disgrace me in public, see what your Saint Zainab has done." He pressed play on a prepared clip. The screen filled with a shaky video. Zainab in a car park late at night, speaking to a man in a suit. Depo's voiceover oozed. "Here is your wife ahead of me, paying a regulator. Public disgrace. Bribery. Fraud." Kunal chuckled. "Auntie Z, not so holy." Zainab didn't blink. "Play the rest." The clip cut abruptly. Black. Static. Ijeoma's lips twitched. "You're missing the second half because you don't have the second phone." Depo's eyes narrowed. "What second phone?" A siren wailed outside, drawing closer, blue light spilling across marble. The elevator dinged. "Who did you edit that video for, Depo?" Zainab asked, voice low. "Because the original shows you handing the man a second envelope after I left." The door opened. EFCC stepped in with sealed evidence bags. On top, a black phone, Depo's hidden device, recovered in Johannesburg and couriered under seal to Lagos. The lead officer nodded at Zainab. "Madam, shall we watch the uncut version? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Comment your thoughts on the betrayal, and share this with someone who loves drama. What do you think happens next? Comment below." The uncut video played in the living room while the city lights blinked through glass. In it, Zainab handed a file to a regulator, an official request for a compliance review. She left. 2 minutes later, Depo slid from the shadows, pressing cash into the same man's palm. "Delay it. My wife doesn't need new enemies," he hissed. Board members watched in silence. Kunal's smirk evaporated. Tammy clung to Zainab's waist. Depo tore his eyes from the screen and went for charm. "Baby, I was protecting us. This is marital talk turned into theater." Amma leaned toward her camera. "The resolution passes. Mr. Oak is suspended." On what basis? He demanded. On the basis of truth, Amma said. And because investors fear fire. The call ended. Depo stood there like a statue in a storm. Kosi arrived with Aunt Mareo, chest heaving, school bag still on his shoulder. He took Tammy's hand. We're leaving, he told his father. Now. Depo's jaw muscle twitched. Kosi, I am still your father. Then act like it, Kosi said, voice shaking but clear. In the elevator down, Zainab's knees tried to buckle. She held the rail, breathing through the crash. Ijeoma touched her arm. Low chapters matter too, she murmured. This is where the audience breathes with you. Zainab half laughed, half sobbed. I don't want to be anyone's show. You became a show the moment he made a spectacle of your pain. Back at Aunt Mareo's, the courtyard glowed with warm bulbs. The smell of pepper soup drifted from the kitchen. Tammy fell asleep with her head in Zainab's lap. Kosi hovered. Mom, do we still have money? We have time, Zainab said. And time is money when you use it well. At midnight, Zainab sat with Ijeoma at the dining table, calendar spread, legal pads full of arrows. He'll pivot, Ijeoma said. He'll spin co-parenting conflict, claim you're alienating the children, cry emotional manipulation. I won't give him the performance, Zainab said. We move straight to consequences. Property injunctions. International mutual legal assistance. And we go to Nairobi. Nairobi. Pearl Holdings bought a logistics startup there, paper company. It's where he parked the final tranche. Ijeoma nodded slowly. We serve them at their boardroom table. In the morning, Zainab braided Tammy's hair as gospel music hummed from Auntie's radio. Mummy, Tammy said softly, did Daddy stop loving us? Zainab's hands paused. Love doesn't stop, she said, careful. Sometimes it gets sick. Sometimes people do stupid things and call it love. Will he get well? I don't know, baby. But we'll be okay even if he doesn't. The doorbell rang. A delivery, 2 giant flower arrangements with a card, let's talk. For the kids. D. Aunt Mareo clicked her tongue. After fire, he brings flowers? Zainab smiled without humor. Let him decorate his own ashes. They flew to Nairobi on the afternoon flight. Mount Kenya a faint whisper beyond clouds. Yaya Center buzzed below. The city pulsed with matatus painted like album covers. At the Pearl Holdings office, glass and steel, coffee bar in the lobby, the receptionist tried to smile them away. Ijeoma presented the orders. The receptionist's smile died. Inside the boardroom, a polished man in a green tie shook hands with forced warmth. Ladies, can we not make this an online spectacle? Then comply, Ijeoma said. Full records. Now. He stalled. Our servers are under maintenance. Amma's voice came smooth from a speaker she had joined remotely. They always are when truth knocks. Zainab stood, looking at the Nairobi skyline, a city like Lagos, like Accra, like Johannesburg, all glitter and grit. I'll give you 1 hour, she said. After that, we file criminal complaints here. You will trend by noon. The man caved. Drives appeared. Passwords were typed. The logs told their story. A transfer scheduled for midnight, tonight, moving the last $80 million to a crypto gateway in Dubai. Zainab's breath slowed. He thinks he can outrun midnight, she said. We'll be there at 11:59. As they left the building, Zainab's phone vibrated. A message from an unknown Nairobi number. Meet me behind the Maasai market in 30 minutes. Come alone. Or your daughter's school videos go online. Zainab stopped walking. The sound of the city dimmed to a single thin wire. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The Maasai market's riot of color, beaded necklaces, bright kaitenge, carved soapstone, blurred as Zainab slipped down a narrow lane behind the stalls. She kept her phone recording, a tiny red in the corner. A man stepped from the shadow, cap low, hoodie up. He tapped a cigarette against his palm. "Madam Zainab, you run fast. You threaten children," she said. "You crawl." He chuckled. "Your husband is generous." He said keep it clean, only a scare. "But I am entrepreneurial." "How much?" $50,000. Or Tammy's videos find new fans. Zainab didn't blink. "Men like you don't protect phones. You protect knives." He smiled, showing a gold tooth. "Phones can fall and break. Memory sticks. Fly like birds." She stepped closer, heart drumming. "I have cash in the car." Behind him, a shadow moved. Another figure separated from the wall, a woman with a sharp bob, sunglasses, leather jacket. Naledi. She lifted her chin at Zainab, then spoke to the man in Zulu-tinged Swahili. He startled, turned, and found himself staring at a third figure, an undercover Kenyan officer sliding a badge from his jacket. The alley tightened like a fist. The man ran. 2 officers moved. He hit the ground 1 second later with a sound like a dropped gourd. The flash drive skittered toward a drain. Naledi's heel came down on it, stopping its slide. She bent, picked it up, and handed it to Zainab. "I owed you," she said. "Now we are square." Zainab swallowed gratitude and adrenaline. "We're not square," she said. "We're allies." At the station, the thug sang fast. "Colonel sent me," he blurted. He said make the mother scared, get her to slow down, buy us time. Zainab stared at the wall until her eyes burned. Colonel. Family. Betrayal in marriage stretches beyond the bed. It drips into the blood. Back at Pearl Holdings, Igioma's fingers flew over a laptop. "With this flash drive and their logs, we block the midnight transfer. We also have grounds for conspiracy and intimidation." Zainab's phone rang. Kosi. She answered so quickly she almost dropped it. "Mom, Dad came to Auntie's again. He brought gifts. He told Tammy you're turning us against him." "What did you say?" "I told him I'm not a pawn on his chessboard," Kosi said softly. "He said the board is his. He said everyone is his." Zainab closed her eyes. "I'm sorry, my son." "It's okay," he said, voice breaking. "Just don't lose." Depo called then, his name a bruise on the screen. Zainab answered, put him on speaker. "You're playing games in Nairobi," he said. "I'm patient. Then wait while we shut your doors." He chuckled. You forget, I built my doors. Even if you lock them, I have windows." "Do you have a conscience?" she asked. Silence. Then, "Conscience doesn't scale." She hung up before her heart could break again. At 11:57 p.m., Nairobi glowed like a net of stars. In Pearl's server room, a clock ticked too loudly. The boardroom screen showed 3 regulators on 3 continents, faces stern. The transfer script cued, $80M in motion. At 11:59, a code injection hit the gateway, blocked. Red text, funds frozen, court order attached. Zainab exhaled, long and full, and it almost sounded like a sob. Naledi squeezed her hand. "You were ahead," she whispered. The victory tasted like pepper on a cut. Hot, clean, painful. Igioma checked her watch. Lagos hearing at 10 a.m. "We fly now." As they reached the airport, Zainab's phone lit up again. A news alert, viral. Tech CEO divorces wife by text, empties $500 million joint account. The article image was a paparazzi shot of Zainab at Murtala Muhammad. Scarf, tired eyes, determination like steel. The caption, "African marriage drama unfolds in 3 capitals." Her chest tightened. "He wanted theater," she murmured. "He got a stadium." Then another alert, brighter, sharper. Exclusive. Leaked audit shows CEO forged signatures. A grainy still. Depo's hand practicing Zainab's looped Z. "Who leaked the audit?" The byline said, Source close to the matter. Naledi looked out the window. Some secrets want air, she said. Zainab leaned back as the plane lifted into night. Tomorrow, she whispered, we end this. But when the wheels touched Lagos, a black SUV idled at the curb with tinted windows. The door opened. A familiar face stepped out, calm, elegant, a woman Zainab hadn't seen in months. Hello, Z, said Saad, once Zainab's closest friend, now Depo's whispered rumor. We need to talk about the house. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. They sat in a quiet cafe in Ikoyi, daylight knifing through blinds. Saad wore a simple white dress and Gelly done with quiet confidence. I didn't sleep with your husband, she said. I need you to hear that. Zainab's smile was a thin thread. Your WhatsApp calls say otherwise. Saad didn't flinch. We talked. He tried. I refused. He shifted to Naledi. I stopped picking his calls. Why are you here? Saad slid a folder across the table. Inside, copies of title deeds, transfer instructions, and an unsigned quitclaim. He convinced an agent to draw this. He wanted our Ikoyi house in his name only, claiming he needed it for collateral. He planned to force a signature at a meeting. Which meeting? Tonight. He thinks you'll come alone. Zainab's eyes flicked up. You saved these. Saada's mouth trembled. I saved them the day I realized the boy I dated in university grew into a man who uses people like receipts. Why tell me now? Because I'm tired of being the whisper in your story, Saad said. And because when we were 20, you gave me your last 5,000 naira to pay rent. I owe you. Zainab nodded once. Then help me set the stage. That afternoon, legal papers moved like a flock of birds. Injunctions at the land registry, notices to the estate management, letters to the bank tied to the house. Igioma's phone never stopped buzzing. We'll turn his meeting into a record, she said. We'll have EFCC in the building, quietly. At sunset, Zainab stood in the house she had made a home. Ankara pillows on the couch. Family photos that told a story that now hurt to look at. A pot of egusi on the stove because despite everything, the body needs food. She set a small recording device under the coffee table. She straightened a frame of the children laughing on Tarkwa Bay. She inhaled. The front door opened. Depo walked in with a swagger that tried to remember what it felt like to be king. Kunal followed, eyes darting. Behind them, a thick-necked man in a too-tight suit. Depo spread his hands. Z, I came in peace. Good, she said. I came with a pen. He set the quitclaim on the table. This is simple. Sign the house to me. I refinance, pay off what we owe, stabilize the story. You keep the kids, I keep the headlines. Where do you keep the truth? He smiled. Where it doesn't affect my valuation. She picked up the pen. He watched, hunger in his eyes. She signed, slow, careful, and slid the paper back. He glanced, and confusion flickered. What is this? The date, she said. See it. He scanned. The date wasn't today. It was the date they bought the house. Backdated. Invalid. Trapped. Z. And the signature, she said softly. See how it shakes. That's how my hand looked the day you almost missed Kosi's school play. It's also how a forensic expert knows this is a demonstration, not a consent. The door opened again. EFCC stepped in, quiet as rain. Mr. Oak, we have questions about coercion, the lead officer said. Kunal swore under his breath. The thick-necked man reached into his jacket. Another officer's hand was faster. A gun clattered to the tile. Depo's eyes went to the family photo on the shelf. For the first time, shame slipped past his guard. Z, he said, voice thin, you're ruining me. No, she said. I'm stopping you from ruining us. They took statements. They collected the fake quitclaim. They left. The house exhaled. Depo stood in the doorway, a silhouette with edges worn. "You win," he said, like trying the words on his tongue. "Take the kids. Take the furniture. I'll rebuild." Zainab shook her head. "You still don't understand. This isn't about couches. This is about consequence." He stared at her a long time. Then he laughed, short and hollow. "Consequence," he said. "Okay." He turned and walked into the night. Minutes later, Zainab's phone lit up with a new alert. "Breaking. Anonymous source alleges Zainab laundered funds through a church charity." A blurry photo of her at a women's fellowship. The comments were knives. "Emotional manipulation," Ijeoma said, scanning. "He's flipping the script." "Let him," Zainab said, jaw set. "In the morning, we go to court. I have the last piece." "What piece?" Zainab opened a safe, pulled out a small brown envelope, and set it on the table with 2 fingers. On the flap, "Trust, mother's name." "Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. If this twist shocked you, drop a comment and share with someone who follows African marriage drama. What do you think happens next? Comment below. Courtroom be smelled of polish and old paper. Fans whirred. Phones hummed. Reporters waited like fishermen at dawn. The judge, calm, silver-haired, eyes like cool stone, took the bench. "We have 3 motions: Mariva extension, interim custody, and defamation injunction," he said. "Counsel." Ijeoma rose. "My lord, this is a revenge story only in metaphor. In law, it is straightforward. The respondent emptied a $500 million joint account through shell entities in Accra, Nairobi, and Johannesburg. He divorced by text, public disgrace, and escalated to intimidation. We have exhibits A through N." Depo's counsel stood. "My lord, the applicant is orchestrating a media trial. The funds were corporate monies moved to protect stakeholders. Domestic betrayal is not a legal term." The judge's eyebrow lifted. "No, but fraud is." Zainab listened as if her life were being read aloud. The flash drive from Nairobi. The uncut video. The thwarted midnight transfer. The fake quitclaim. The board suspension. Then Ijeoma placed the small brown envelope on the evidence table like a quiet bomb. "My lord," she said, "5 years ago, the applicant created a maternal trust in her mother's name, seeded with her personal bonuses, not joint funds. The trust holds controlling interest in the Ikoyi house and a golden share in Oak Group that activates if the respondent is found to have engaged in malfeasance. He did. The share is active." Depo's head snapped up. "What?" Ijeoma's voice was silk. She was ahead. Murmurs rippled. The judge raised a hand, quieting the room. "You anticipated betrayal?" Zainab stood. "I anticipated change, my lord. Hope is wise. Preparation is wiser." Depo's counsel tried again. "This golden share is an ambush." "It is a shield," Ijeoma said. "Made legal, not emotional." The judge leaned back. "This court extends the Mariva worldwide. Interim custody to the mother pending full hearing. Defamation injunction granted. As for the corporate matter, this court invites the regulators to proceed as they deem fit." He paused. "And both parties will refrain from turning this court into a theater." The gavel sounded like a door closing and another opening. Outside, microphones bloomed. "Madam Zainab, is this a feminist coup?" She looked directly into a camera. "This is a story about accountability in an African marriage. Nothing more." Her phone buzzed. "Kosi. Mom, are we safe?" "We're safer," she said. Across town, a different camera lit up. Depo sat with a friendly podcaster, eyes wounded, voice low. "I am a victim too," he said. "This is co-parenting conflict weaponized. She wants to erase me from my children's lives." The comments poured like rain. Team Z. Team D. Domestic betrayal. Cheating spouse. African marriage drama. Everyone had a hashtag. Everyone had a stake. That night, Zainab lay awake, listening to generator hums, thinking of the first Suya date, of the way Depo once danced with Tammy in the kitchen, of Kosi's baby laugh. A text pinged at 2:14 a.m. A number she didn't know. You won today. Tomorrow is my turn. In the morning, the turn came. A new headline, leaked, Zainab's company under tax probe. The leak included a letter, real, routine, months old, now weaponized to look like scandal. Stock dipped. Employees panicked. Zainab went to the office in Victoria Island, stood in front of her team. We will over-disclose, she said. We will cooperate. We will not hide. We are not our headlines. In the afternoon, a courier delivered a single page to her desk. A photo, printed, grainy. Zainab at the Maasai Market Alley, the thug on the ground, a flash of cash frozen mid-air. The caption scrawled in pen, bribery, another angle. Igioma's jaw tightened. They are building a wall of noise. Then we build a bell of truth, Zainab said. We ring it until ears bleed. That evening, Amma called from Accra. Our regulator filed a criminal complaint. Johannesburg too. Interpol is sniffing. Zainab breathed out slowly. Good. Her phone buzzed again. Tammy's school. The principal's voice shook. Madam, someone uploaded a deep-fake video of Tammy to a student group. We removed it. We are so sorry. Zainab's hands clenched until her nails bit her palms. We press charges, she said, voice calm only by force. We call the cybercrime unit. We make an example. She hung up and stared at the wall until her vision sharpened into a knife. He used the children, she whispered. The doorbell rang. Zainab opened it to find Depo on the step, alone, rain darkening his shirt. He looked smaller. Z, he said. We need to talk. Not about money. About our kids. Behind him, a car idled. In the back seat, Kunnel's silhouette flickered in lightning. Zainab's stomach turned. Say it on the porch, she said. Depo took a breath. If you don't drop the charges, I will take Tammy to my mother's village tonight. You will not see her again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The threat slid into the air and sat there like a cobra. Zainab didn't move. You won't, she said softly. You can't. The order is clear. Depo's mouth twitched. Orders flex in the dark. Children don't, she said. They break. The rain grew louder, drumming on the porch roof. Zainab stepped back inside and left the door open. You want to be a father? She called over the sound. Be one now. Without conditions. He hesitated, then walked in, wet shoes squeaking on tile. He sat at the table like a stranger in his own home. Zainab made tea because tea is what you make when the world is cracking and there's nothing else to do with your hands. She set a mug before him. He wrapped cold fingers around warmth and swallowed without tasting. He looked older. Tired. Still dangerous. I don't know when I became this, he said finally. I kept telling myself I was protecting us. Then I started protecting only me. Why? Because it was easier than being honest, he said, almost laughing. The first million felt like a rope. The next 100 felt like wings. I forgot the ground. Don't poeticize your crimes, Zainab said, a little too sharply. You chose every step. He nodded, a weary tilt. Yes. Silence. The rain softened. Somewhere in the house, Tammy's laughter, watching a silly clip with Kosi, floated like a lighter sound, a sound from before. Depo rubbed his face. I will not take them, he said finally. I said that to hurt you. It worked. I'm sorry. Zainab stared at him. Say sorry to them. I will. He reached into his pocket. Zainab tensed, but he produced only a small flash drive. He pushed it across the table. There are keys here. Wallets. Passphrase. I can return maybe half. Return. He grimaced. Unwind. It will take time. Time you bought with lies, she said. He looked at the family photo on the shelf. You were ahead, he murmured. You always were. Then why assume I'd be behind this time? Because pride, he said simply. And because men like me are trained by the world to believe women will forgive anything. Zainab swallowed. Not anymore. The doorbell rang again. Too soon, too sharp. Ijeoma opened the door before Zainab could move. 2 officers stood there with a warrant. Different badges this time. Madam, we have an arrest order, the taller one said, holding out the paper. For you. Depo shot to his feet. What madness is this? The officer didn't look at him. Allegation of tax evasion and bribery. Anonymous tip. We need madam for questioning. Zainab took the paper, scanned. The stamp looked real. The signature, off. Counterfeit, she said. The shorter officer's hand slid toward his holster. We can do this quietly or not. Ijeoma's phone was already dialing. Control room, she said. Confirm active warrant on my client. A pause. A frown. There is no such warrant. Zainab looked at the taller man. You have 10 seconds to leave before you add impersonation to your troubles. The men stiffened, recalibrated. The shorter one tugged at the taller one's sleeve. Let's go. They left. Depo exhaled. He sent them, he said. Who? Colonel, Depo said, face carved out of anger and dawning clarity. He's been running his own side play. He wants me buried so he can inherit the wreck. The room tilted. Of course. Family. Blood. Depo stood. I will fix this. You have my keys. You have the trust. Keep the kids safe. Where are you going? To take back what I let go, he said. The boy in me still respects consequence. He left into the soft rain. The house held its breath. An hour later, a message arrived on Zainab's phone. A photo. Colonel, tied to a chair in a dim room, a bruise like a purple fruit on his cheek. The caption, Trade. Your mother's trust documents for your cousin. Zainab's stomach turned to ice. She looked at Ijeoma. We are not trading. No, Ijeoma said. We are setting a trap. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. They met in an abandoned warehouse near Apapa, the smell of oil and salt in the air, the sound of cranes clanking like old bones. Zainab walked in first, flanked by 2 plainclothes officers and the cybercrime unit, quiet as cats. Ijeoma hung back at the entrance texting coordinates to EFCC. The plan was a lattice of contingencies. The risk was real. Colonel sat tied to a chair under a hanging bulb. He looked small, suddenly so much younger than his swagger. Across from him stood the thick-necked man from the house, the one with the gun. 2 others lounged with the coiled restlessness of men who mistake violence for charisma. Zainab's heels clicked. The sound echoed. She carried a brown envelope under her arm, the decoy trust papers, aged with tea and heat, perfect mockery. You wanted these, she said. The thick-necked man grinned. Smart woman. Bring. Zainab didn't move. Release him first. He laughed, bark short. You think this is a court? She tilted her head. You think I came alone? From the dark beyond the bulb's reach, one of the men shifted, suddenly alert. Too late. The cyber unit killed the warehouse power. Darkness. Confusion. Flashlights sliced. Commands barked. The thick-necked man fired a shot that sang into metal. Officers moved faster. In 30 seconds that lasted 5 minutes, wrists were cuffed and guns clattered to the floor. The bulb flickered back to life. Colonel sobbed once, ugly and real. Zainab stepped close. You did this, she said softly. Colonel shook his head, tears and snot and shame. I only wanted a cut. He was draining it all. He promised me the house. You helped strangers threaten your little cousin, she said. Do you know what that makes you? He cried harder. I know. Outside, dawn pinked the horizon. The officers loaded the men into vans. Ijeoma stood with arms folded, watching storms move and clear in Zainab's eyes. You saved him, Ijeoma said. I saved what's left of us, Zainab said, jaw tight. He will answer to the law. They drove straight to court. This, too, was part of the plan. They filed motions with fresh evidence, attempted kidnapping, extortion, impersonation. The judge's pen moved. Orders multiplied like shields. By afternoon, the story flipped again in the press. Cousin's plot exposed. Zainab's trap saves family. SEO keywords fell into place like stones in a path. Domestic betrayal, African marriage drama, cheating spouse, revenge story, public disgrace, co-parenting conflict. That evening, Depo called. Where are you? Zainab asked. Driving, he said. Thinking. About what? About how pride turned me into a man I can't recognize, he said, a quiet she had never heard before. I turned love into a ledger. You can return money, she said. Can you return time? No, he said. But I can stop stealing more. He sent a link, an access portal with the last keys, the Dubai gateway routed back and frozen. He sent a location, a bank in Victoria Island, and a time, 9 p.m. He would sign the reversal orders. I will also sign the first draft of the divorce settlement, he said. You keep the house. Custody as the court orders. I resign from the board. I apologize in public. What do you want? He hesitated. To be allowed to try again with my children when the court says I may. At 9 p.m., the bank's fluorescent light hummed. Depo sat at a glass desk, pen in hand, face pale but composed. Zainab stood behind the glass, watching the strokes that undid strokes. Every signature was a small rewinding of betrayal. It didn't heal everything. It sealed something. When he finished, he looked up at her through the glass like a man in an aquarium, drowning. He tapped the glass once. Thank you for not setting me on fire, he said. You did that yourself, she said. They walked out into the humid night. Across the street, a small crowd had gathered. Phones glowed. Is that them? Someone whispered. The text divorce couple? Public disgrace has a smell. Sweat, curiosity, muttered hashtags. Depo lifted his hands. Not in surrender, but in a quiet nod. Zainab kept her head high and walked to her car. Her phone rang as she opened the door. Voice brisk. Interpol issued a notice. Travel restrictions. He's grounded. Zainab looked at Depo under the banklight. He won't run, she said. You certain? Asked. No, Zainab said. But the ground is less slippery now. She drove home slowly down Awolowo Road, under trees that have watched 1,000 stories. The gate opened. The house smelled like pepper soup and pencils and the particular breath of children asleep. Her phone buzzed one more time, a last message before sleep. From Depo, tomorrow 10 a.m. I will speak publicly. I will tell the truth. In the quiet, Zainab allowed herself a small thing she had not allowed in weeks. She hoped. Morning came. The press gathered. Cameras waited. Depo stepped up to the podium, took a breath, and said, I did this. Then a shout from the back. Shoes on tile. A whisper turned to a wave. A man pushed through the crowd, waving a folder. Stop this performance, he yelled. I have proof that she planned the theft from the beginning. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The man at the back wore a cheap suit and a grin like a crack in a mask. He slapped the folder onto the podium. Photos spilled, Zainab with documents, Zainab at airports, Zainab with nality. She orchestrated all this to seize control, he declared. This is a revenge story against a man who only wanted to co-parent. The room teetered. Reporters surged. Depo glanced at the photos, then at Zainab. He could choose spectacle. He could choose truth. He lifted a hand. The room quieted. "I know that man," he said. "He forged these. He worked for Connell." A murmur ran like a low wave. Zainab stepped forward to a separate mic.
"Come."
"We anticipated this," she said. "The forgeries bear the same error as the fake warrant, the wrong registrar's seal." She opened a folder of her own and read out the registrar code. A big screen behind them flashed two seals side by side. Even from the back row, the differences were obvious. A woman in glasses raised a hand. "Why were you with Naledi?" Zainab didn't flinch. Because in stories about infidelity in marriage, women are often turned into rivals. In this one, we turned into witnesses. Another hand. "Are you divorcing?" Zainab nodded. "Yes." "Do you forgive him?" She looked at Depo. He looked at the floor. "Forgiveness is not a check," she said simply. "It is a road. He can walk it with our children as the court allows." Depo cleared his throat, voice steady. "I divorced my wife by text and emptied our joint account. I am a cheating spouse who turned co-parenting conflict into a weapon. I moved money across 3 countries. I am cooperating with authorities. I resign from all positions. I ask for mercy, not because I deserve it, but because my children do." Silence. The room was full of witnesses, but the moment belonged to 4 people. A woman, a man, and 2 children not present who would read these words one day. Zainab thought of women in the U.S. and Jamaica and all across the diaspora who watch African marriage drama on their phones at midnight, nodding, remembering, warning. She thought of mothers who teach daughters that resilience isn't softness. It's a fist wrapped in velvet. In the days that followed, courts did what courts do: slow, grinding, real. The Mariva held. The funds in Accra and Johannesburg were repatriated to corporate escrow. The Dubai Gateway coughed up its last coin. The Ikoyi house stayed where it had always belonged, in the story of Zainab and her children. The golden share moved like a quiet moon in the background, ensuring any attempt at corporate resurrection passed through a new center of gravity. Zainab took Tammy to Balogun Market to buy school shoes, bargaining with laughter and steel. She took Kosi to watch a match at Teslim Balogun Stadium, shouting herself hoarse when their side scored. She went back to work and met every tax officer with tea and every query with a spreadsheet. She prayed some mornings, cursed others, and learned the shape of space made by absence. One evening, as the Harmattan rolled in and Lagos turned the color of memory, Depo stood at the gate holding a bouquet of sunflowers that looked out of place among bougainvillea. He didn't step in. "I came to say the last piece," he said. Zainab leaned on the gate. "Say it." "I know you were ahead," he said, a smile like apology and admiration and grief. "What I didn't know was that you were ahead for us, not against me." She nodded once. "Learn it." "I am learning," he said. "The hard way." He handed her an envelope, no theatrics, just paper. Inside, proof of the last transfer reversal, a signed confession lodged with the regulators, and a letter to the children that didn't ask anything, only told the truth and said he would wait. He turned to go. Tammy's voice floated from the doorway. "Daddy." He turned back. "Yes, baby. Can you come for my school play?" He swallowed. "If your mom says yes, and the court." Zainab looked at her daughter, at her son coming down the hall with cautious hope like a lamp in his hands. "We'll see," she said. "One step at a time." That night, alone in the quiet, Zainab opened her mother's trust folder and traced the careful letters with a fingertip. She thought of the women who built her, a line of fighters who knew that love without boundaries bleeds into loss. She put the folder back, locked the safe, and whispered to the ceiling fan, "We are okay." Outside, Lagos breathed, hawkers packing up, mosques humming, generators coughing, lovers arguing softly in the alley. Life, noisy and stubborn, went on. Zainab sat at her table and wrote a short note to the women who would watch her story on Echoes of Africa, women in the US and Ghana and Nigeria and beyond, you are not foolish for having a soft heart. Keep your receipts. Keep your peace. Keep your plan. She smiled, small and real, then turned off the light. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. If you felt this ending, drop a comment, share with someone who loves drama, and tell us, what lesson did you take from this domestic betrayal and revenge story?